Wonderful. Now let's talk about the market analysis. What exactly does market analysis entail? As you can see for yourselves on your screen, it has six complements. One is market definition, the second is market size, followed by market trends, and then you have strategic advantage profiling, which is SAP, and the competitive advantage profiling, which is CAP, and of course the Porter's five forces analysis, right? Let's go for a visualization to help us understand it better. So when we talk about the market definition, so what exactly are we trying to define out here? Are we going for a topographical definition? Are we going for a sector-wise definition? Are we going for a product-wise definition? Are we going for a population, a segmentation definition? Are we going for an income group definition? What exactly are we going for? So in this case, since it's supposed to be a market segmentation research exercise, so every kind of segmentation definition is to be involved. It's to be assessed. It's to be analyzed, right? So that's exactly why this market analysis is being done. This is a pre-research activity, the pre-market segmentation research activity which is being done. Of course, we'll talk about market segmentation also as a separate complement of this market analysis. But as of now, let's stay confined to the definition part. So when we come to defining the various segments by definition, fine. So this is what we have to keep in mind. I mean, there could be a plethora, there could be a multitude of all these complements which have to be defined in the market analysis, fine. And then we move on to the size. So normally what happens when we're talking about market analysis on a size basis, the market size analysis, you're talking about so many things. So are you going to be talking about the geographical size? Are you going to be talking about the country specific size? Out here it's just one country, China, that we're talking about. Are you going to be talking about the regional size? Are you going to be talking about the population segment size? Are you going to be talking about the sector wise size? Are you going to be talking about psychographic size? Are you going to be talking about preferential size? Are you going to be talking about life size, complement size? Are you going to be talking about various economic strata sizes out here? So you've got to be analyzing all those complements of the market by virtue of their size. And then the trends. Now, since it's a luxury, vehicle market that we're talking about, there are premium brands to be introduced. So when it comes to trends, what are the kind of trends which are observed out there in this market, in the Chinese market? Obviously, there's a lot of competition out there. Too many competitive automobile manufacturers are there, which are both native and external, fine, which have set up shop out there. So, what are the kind of trends for various segments, for various age groups, for various income groups? What are the various luxury or premium luxury branded vehicles trends out there? What is seen to occupy the topmost niche, the mid niche, or the lower niche, the strugglers, the high performers and stuff like that. So what exactly are you looking out for when it comes to these market analytical trends out there? Fine. So the idea is to get a grip on these trends. Even though the EE group has been around the Chinese business biosphere for quite some time, but then again, when we talk about trends, they change in a fortnight, they change in 24 hours, they could change on an hour basis and stuff like that. So basically, what we're looking out here is an intimate acquaintance with every aspect of the market. So otherwise, you could have simply gone for a segmentation exercise. You didn't need to go for a market analysis. You didn't need to go for a, analysis like a geographical assessment profile and stuff. You didn't need to go for a Porter's 5F analysis and stuff like this, or a capability advantage profiling or a strategic advantage profiling. You could simply go for a SAP. You could simply go for, a SWOT or a PESTLE analysis. Fine. But then, as I said, as I've been harping about it time and again in this case study, the company is leaving no stone unturned. It's going all the way down to the last mile. Yeah. Now let's move on to the strategic advantage profiling. Now the company has a huge strategic advantage, but it still wants to be profiling it with respect to the specific territory. When it comes to its pedigree, when it comes to its solutions, which are of course the products, when it comes to the kind of a clientele it has out there, it's extremely well placed on all these three complements. It has unparalleled pedigree, so to say. It's one of the finest automobile players or automotive entities out there in the globe. And when it comes to kind of product lineup, you've seen the kind of a product portfolio it has. It's immaculate. It's impeccable. And when you come to the clientele, it's top of the line. The high sales have happened in China of its luxury segments. I mean, that's a telling reminder to any skeptic that, okay, buddy, get your act right. I mean, this is the real big thing. This is the big tamale. This is how things are working out. This is how the cookie crumbles for us in this market. So get your skepticism out of the window. Fine. So this is it. Go and get it defenestrated. Fine. Throw it out of the window. This is the real thing. This is the writing on the wall. Fine. And then we talk about capability advantage profiling, right? So we're talking about the capability and the competence spectrum, the technological developments, the technological innovations, the augmentations done by artificial intelligence, the machine learning complements. We're talking about all crazy things out there, the analytics involved in assessments and checking the applicability of technological innovations, coming up with all these concepts. There's a huge capability advantage which this company enjoys over its competitors. As I kept on talking about, it's not just the financials, even though that's one of the key complements of corporate envy across its competitive space. But then, when it comes to its capabilities, it's largely untouched by the competition because it's light years ahead of them. Even though nowadays technological ingression is pretty uniform across industries, but in the automotive space, things are moving at a different pace for some companies. And then finally, let's talk about the Porter's 5F. Now, even if it confined itself to a Porter's 5F, it would have got most of the things right. Now, we all know Porter talked about the five factors. He talked about the entrants in a market, the substitutes in a market, the customers in the market, the suppliers, and the competition in the market. You know, he simply has had a prejudice about all these factors in the sense that he said, okay, fine, new entrants can as upset your apple cart, fine, and there can be substitutes who can be unbecoming, and then your customers may change their fidelity, and your suppliers may hold you to ransom, and your competition may outpace you. It's a debilitating matrix, basically, a five-pointed star, basically, that Potter created in reality, basically. So companies need to be wary of all these factors. They need to have a very high level of cognizance about all these factors. Why? Because these are the kind of variables, even though these variables can be preempted, so, they can be pre-capped, they can be understood much better, they can be contended with successfully, and they can be tackled because you are already aware of their existence, and they don't crop up as a surprise factor like a change of government, like a change of political ideology. Imagine China becoming a democracy overnight. Imagine a coup happening out there. Now, I'm not getting into the political space, right? So imagine a war breaking out between the China and the United States and stuff like that, and how that can impact things. But those are unpredictable variables, even though some companies might have factored those situations in their assessments. But as of now, let's not go stratospheric in our assumptions. Let's stay confined to the ground level, right? So this is what's basically factored into the scheme of things. So Porter's analysis, the 5F analysis, is is a pretty enriching addendum to all the other factors like definition, size, trends, SAP, and CAP. Fine. And we're yet to talk about the market segmentation, which will add a further feather to the cap of the market analysis, right? The pre market research ethos. Now you can understand once all this is done, how enriched, how equipped, how weaponized the market research team and the consultancy would feel after all this has been done by the company. This is not what the market research consultancy is doing. This is what the company is doing on its own, right? Which is market research team is doing on its own before the before the segmentation exercise, right? So this is all about the market analysis, and I'll be running you through the market segmentation complement after this. Thank you.